Hi class, I heard that you will be starting your final project in Mrs. Stewart's reading class. So before you start, as a librarian, I am here for you to help you on your final project. We want to share with you some copyright infringements and internet safety so you pass your final project, and make sure you follow all of the copyright laws. Let me start off by going over our objectives for this lesson. So by the end of this lesson, you will be learning some copyright vocabulary. You're also going to find out the difference between sharing and copying. And then we're going to wrap it up by learning about fair use. So some of you might be asking, what is copyright and why do I need to learn about it in third grade? Well, copyright is a law that gives protection to artists and creators to help them get paid for their work. It creates an incentive for spending time and money to make new work. When artists know that their art will be protected by copyright, they are encouraged to make even more creative work. So I'm going to use you all as an example. Let's say so at the end of the 6 weeks, we always have incentives for everyone that was in honor roll, had perfect attendance, our bucket fillers, and our leader of the 6 weeks. You might get some goodie bags, extra recess time, and then we also started our parade. So now that you see we have all of these incentives, a lot of you are started working really hard to be able to participate in the incentives for the end of the week. So this is exactly the same as someone who creates something and wants to be acknowledged that they are the creators. So what gets protected under copyright? All kinds of creative work get protected, such as drawings, original writing, videos, photographs, songs, and lyrics, and even computer programs. So if you created it, you are the copyright owner. Copyright protects everyone. When you create something and write it down, record it, or save it, you are the copyright owner. You decide how your work will be shared and distributed. So let's go over sharing and copying. There is a big difference between sharing and copying. Let's say, for example, Amairani is reading a book and she is still not finished. Once she finished reading the book, Leslie decides she wants to read it as well. So then Amairani shares the book with her and Leslie starts reading it. So that is okay because they are taking turns with the book. Only one person is reading the book at a time. Copying is different. Let's say, for example, Amairani is not finished with the book, but Leslie wants to read it already. So she takes pictures of the book, and both of them are reading it at the same time. And then Leslie decides to share the pictures of the book with the rest of her classmates. So now everyone in the class has those pictures of that one book. That is not okay, and that is violating the copyright rules. You are not giving credit to the author, you are not compensating the author for their work, and that means that there is one copy going around for the whole class, which is not okay. What happens if you don't follow these rules? Well, you end up breaking the copyright law. And in school, what might end up happening if you don't follow the copyright laws, you will fail your class or your assignment. Outside of school, what might happen is that you will get a fine, which means that you or your parents will have to pay money to that original creator, which is fair because, like we just said, if you create something, you want to be acknowledged, you want to get paid for the time that you used creating that. exactly how you want to have those incentives at the end of the 6 weeks for working hard. So some of you might be asking, well, how am I going to create my final project if I am not able to use images, videos, or books? Well, luckily in school we have something called fair use, which means that it is fair to copy or share copyrighted work without permission. How does that work? So, for example, as a third grader, you are allowed to copy some text from a book to put on a book report. And right here, the keyword is some. Do not use the entire book for your book report because that would not be fair to the creator, and you will not be following the copyright laws. Let's see, another example can be you may use videos, music, or lyrics in a PowerPoint or slide presentation as long as it is for school use. You may also use images, a full image or partial image for your projects or schoolwork, and again, as long as it is for school. However, make sure that you do not share any of your schoolwork on social media or anywhere else on an online platform because it might not be so fair for you to use. You need to ask yourself some questions before you share it. Some questions such as who owns the song if you're going to be using a song or a video, who owns the image, and do you have permission to publish and share it on an online platform? So let's go over some scenarios and try to figure it out if it's fair use or if it's violating copyright. Let's see, for example, Luis is writing a book report and copies the entire book as his final project. This would not be okay since he is using the entire book. If he would use some of the text from the book, then it would be fair use. Our next scenario, Mateo decides to share his presentation that contained videos and music that was not his to YouTube. That again is not fair use. That is violating copyright since in his presentation, even though it is his presentation, he has videos and music that is not his. He did not create that video or music. So this is violating copyright. Our next scenario, Lauren and Stephanie are listening to a song, and Lauren sends the song to Stephanie. So now Stephanie and Lauren have a copy of that same song. That again is not fair use and is violating copyright. Make sure if you want that song, you would have to pay for it. If you're not paying for that song, then that will be violating copyright. Our next scenario, Yaritza writes a book report and uses some text for her book report. That is fair use since she is only using some text, and it is also for educational purposes. She is using it for a book report. So keep these goals in mind when you are working on your final project, when you are collaborating with others. These are the goals that you should keep in mind. Be aware of copyright protection. Do not share things online without permission. And when you are using resources, for example, images, videos, music, photographs, that is someone else's, make sure it is only for educational purposes. If you make sure that it is only for educational purposes, then that is considered fair use, and you will be allowed to use it, copy it, and share it without permission. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I am here for you, and I will be working along with Mrs. Stewart while you are creating your final project and making sure that you are following the copyright and internet safety rules. So have fun creating your final project, and let me know. I'm here for anything.